Alright, give me my cat, please. What are you, Chinese or something? Thank you. Shut up! Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead Q&A 108. If you've noticed this shirt, if you didn't check out my map mail video, the awesome people at thewalkingfans.com sent me this shirt. They make a bunch of awesome shirts, like a Glen one. They're actually sending me up the variant. The original that they released said, "I'll find you," and then the variant they just put up a day or two later says, "Hey dumbass." That one, in my opinion, that's the special one right there. I can't wait to get my hands on that in the mail. But this is a really awesome Skull Mash Lucille. It even has like PP Pan City and everything at the bottom. Watch the video. I show it off and talk about it, and I show off a couple images from others. If you're curious, I'll leave a link down below if you just want to go right to their online store. Now, let's jump right into these. If you're new here, you can find the rules down in that video description. Paul, S935. Do you think Daryl trusts Sherry, or is he going to take her advice at all? I think he's hearing what she has to say, but I think he's real skeptical of trusting her. I think he's going to warm up to the idea of trusting her if he gets a chance to see more of the situation that they are facing. With that said, I think he's proven that he doesn't trust her right now because she said to go back and he didn't, you know? Can I have my gun, please? I do not feel safe without my firearm. It's right there, Juliet. Get Daddy his gun. Next, Rolling Big Shot. Do you think it was necessary for Ezekiel to break up the fight between the Kingdom and the Saviors? It didn't really seem like the Saviors cared too much about the scuffle. Yeah, you know, that popped off and everyone had their backs turned to them, but I will say the Saviors definitely seemed very chilled and relaxed because they didn't pitch a bitch fit at all when everyone pulled their guns out on them, you know? Everyone armed up, and the Saviors didn't throw a fit about it. They just like, yeah, whatever, you know, this is an asshole being an asshole, but they still had the that superior air about them, you know. Hey, you know, this is yada yada yada, produce next week. And the other leader definitely at that point in time made it seem like this is a tricky situation to deal with because you don't want to mess up shit that's already going smooth for you. This is a smooth transaction. Why do you want to cause shit? In the same strength, he also had a cautious way about him to not stir up shit with him and his own guys. So yeah, I do believe that Ezekiel definitely should have got between them because this isn't something that we should, especially with such a volatile relationship, this isn't something we should play around with and have a little mini fist fight here, you know. So I definitely think Ezekiel should have broken that up.
You want my gun?
I don't want you to aim the gun at me. Rhonda Daisy, is Sherry wanting to get pregnant, and was that sarcasm from Dwight? Yeah, when Dwight said maybe next time. No, I don't think she wants to get pregnant. I think that is just something they do as a precaution. How many times have I told you, a gun is not a toy? You do not just point it at somebody. Do you understand me?
You're pointing at me right now!
Gobius. I don't know how to say your name. Hey, Ronnie, I gotta say I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan, but I hate the beard with a passion. Do you think the showrunners put it on him to make up for the lack of size, almost to change the character from younger, stronger, physical, intimidating to a more experienced leader? No, they needed it for an acting contract he had with a different show. As far as why they're keeping it, I think it just has to do with consistency. They are bouncing around with time, so we might see something further down the line this season with them bouncing around. And if they do, they need the beard for that. You know what I mean? I'm hoping once we get past this whole playing with time shit, we will get a Negan fresh shaved, you know. I maybe hope. I love the idea. I'm fucking sorry. I know everyone's like, oh, it's a beard, doesn't matter. Listen, he looks fine in the beard. That's fine, whatever. But it's a simple idea that it fits his character. Who shaves in the apocalypse? Negan. He has a penthouse full of wives, leather jacket, biker gang that are like animals, but he's a clean, shaven, smooth son of a bitch. You know what I mean? He's a big guy, sometimes acts like a child. You know what I'm saying? He's a leader, and he acts like the class clown. oh man, everything is a contradiction. You know, who shaves in the apocalypse? Negan does. It's a contradiction. He's the leader, but he's also the class clown. You know, he's the one who's clowning around the most. I love it. I just love it. The shaving is more than appearance in my eyes, and that's why I throw such a bitch fit about it. Anyway, go, get out of here. Go do a cartwheel or something.
Okay.
Joe Cool. Do you think a good number of Lucille Polaroids are representatives from small groups? You do go on to talk about rebellious and groups that were completely annihilated, like the library group, and then you talk about Hilltop's Lucille victim and Kingdom's Lucille victim. Right now we do not know if Hilltop and the Kingdom had Lucille victims. I think we can speculate that, yeah, at least one of them should have, but the Hilltop specifically talked about the Saviors coming and killing the 16-year-old kid, and they didn't describe anything like getting lined up, beat with a baseball bat, and I think that's something you would describe. So I have a feeling that it was Simon, and there was no big show, you know what I mean? So I do believe that, yeah, the Lucille victims are people who were new that Negan ran into, maybe some small groups, maybe a couple big groups. I do think that maybe a couple were from the same group, or maybe they rebelled, or maybe they got out of line, or maybe they didn't produce enough. I do not believe the Lucille victims are all people like the first time you meet them, yada yada yada. That's too many groups. On the same strength, if you go and look on the wall, they were duplicates. And then there might even be images at a different outpost or even at the sanctuary. But bottom line, yes, those are Lucille victims from all different places for all different reasons, not just first time meeting, in my opinion.
Okay, just get to your video. I'm playing around.
Colton G, what do you think? Who do you think will get Comic Holly's big moment? And if it's Rosita, which you think it is, how do you think that will affect Eugene's story in the new beginning? Me personally, I feel like the comic book Eugene, Abraham, Rosita, I feel like that is way different, that kind of connection, than the shows. I think the show has a really nice connection as well, but I think the comic book's storyline fits great for the comic book, and the show storyline at this time is fitting great for the show. I don't think they need the Rosita Eugene type of storyline that they had in the comic book on the show. I think if you needed to put somebody with Eugene in that type of storyline, I don't think it needs to be anyone from the group. It could be a new character, someone from the Hilltop Kingdom, Alexandria. It could be someone from anywhere. It doesn't need to be there. Then again, I don't think he needs anybody in that situation, you know? You can definitely remix that without having to hook him up with somebody. As far as who's going to take the big Holly moment, the top of my list would be Sasha. I think it could be Sasha, Tara, Rosita. Top of my list would be Sasha because of her attitude. I don't want her to take it, not right now. I'd have to think about that a little bit. Next down, in my opinion, I think Tara would be a runner-up just because she lost the most, in my opinion, because of Denise. That was the Saviors. Glenn, ouch. Abraham, I mean, just damn. You know, that was Greatham. Those were two parts of Greatham. I think she's going to take that hard. And again, she's taken that loss with Denise. Like, ouch. She was coming back waiting to hear Denise say, I love you, is that? Or no, she was going to say it? I don't know. She's not going to hear that. I don't know. Anyway, I think the third is Rosita. She's on the bottom. I could be totally wrong, but I just don't see her being that impulsive in that type of situation. I don't know. Not with Rosita. Rosita has attitude, and she gets shit done. Yes, absolutely. I just don't see her doing that. The original CP9. What are you doing for your 100K video? I don't know. I had a video planned, and I started working on it too late, and I underestimated how long it would take, because it has to do with a lot of images, and it's more of a, it's not like a Walking Dead related. It's going to take a while to get it together, even if, and I don't even know if you guys are interested. You guys let me know down below. Let me know what you want, please, because I'm running out of ideas. The video that I want to do, though, I'm still going to do. I can't do it for the 100K, because it'll probably take me another month to complete it. Anyway. Misfit JJ, what determines the women of the sanctuary to be one of Negan's wives or a worker? Negan has to ask, or she has to ask. You know what I mean? It's one of those. They're not just all his wives. It has to be a deal. I don't think there's a ceremony, but I do believe there's something little to at least tell the community, the people in the community, so they know to stay away from those type of, you know what I mean? But anyway. The organic panda. Ronnie, what do you think Negan would have done if Rick did not grab the hatchet in episode 1? I think he would have just killed him or somebody in his group, you know? Carl Grimes. While rewatching The Well, I noticed the woman at the choir was pregnant. Is it safe to assume the Kingdom has a doctor, and at the Sanctuary they have a doctor, and the Hilltop has a doctor? Is Alexandria the only community without a doctor? Yeah, at this time I think it is. It looks that way anyway. Deadhead asked, why do you think they would make the doctor at the Hilltop and the doctor at the Sanctuary both named Carson? In the comic book, it's because they're brothers. What did you say? Brian Manning, what do you think the chances are that the TV show kills Dwight and replaces him with Daryl? Seems either Dwight or Daryl will die. I disagree strongly. I hate the idea that we can't have a Daryl and a Dwight at the same time. I think it's utterly genius, and that they are doing what they're doing, and I love it. What they did is they have a comic book character, Dwight. He comes into the story not only pre-burn face, but he doesn't look like comic Dwight. How does he gain comic Dwight's look? Through an original TV show character named Daryl. From their interactions, their connecting storylines, he takes Daryl's crossbow, which is Dwight's iconic comic book weapon. He takes his outfit, which he begins to now look like comic Dwight by taking it. And this is why I get so pissed and frustrated with fans, no offense, but fans who say or think that you can't have both Daryl and Dwight. Yes, you can. This is how, because you have a comic book character, you know, iconic look, style. He enters the show not looking like comic Dwight, but he takes the look and style from a TV show character, you know, absorbs it, makes it his own. Now you have comic Dwight, who looks like iconic comic Dwight, you know what I mean? And he looks that way because he took it from the TV show Daryl character. Oh, man, I love that. Love it. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, yes, you can have the two, you know? And sooner or later, I'm hoping they get to a point where they are both free and they bicker over the crossbow as far as ownership. You know, maybe even the jacket, too, or the bike. And I'm hoping it gets to a point where it's not always such serious bickering, you know? And we need to get over the hurdle of the deaths, because the deaths really drown the mood out. You know, you can't really have any joking right now to that degree with those characters because of the deaths. So it's going to take time. Anyway, Flora de Hora. I know you would like to start a new beginning in Season 9, in the Season 9 premiere, so what do you think of adding some show original stories, scenes, battles, beyond anticipating some stuff such as someone's attempt to kill someone else because she wants to fight Negan, resulting in someone's blah blah blah, and doing that in All Out War? No, dear God, no. That belongs in New Beginning, not All Out War. I feel like they could do the war huge, intense, with more plans, stories, dynamics, shootings. Yes, I do believe they could really make the war intense, but what I'm afraid of is they might not think that fans would like, you know, watching The Walking Dead All-Out War for half a season, so they're going to make it in a few episodes. I am really afraid of that. Yeah, I do feel like it fits really nicely if there's a big gap in between the end of the war and the New Beginning, because the New Beginning comes and they skip years, and characters look different, the community looks drastically different, because remember, they have to rebuild it. There's a lot going on. So to do that during a big break, it just seems like that makes the most sense. However, one thing keeps me thinking. The ending in All Out War is extremely underwhelming for a TV show ending to that season. That would be if you do it just like the comic book, that would be a very pathetic ending for a TV show. It really would. It fit in a comic book, and there's a big difference between what works in a comic and what works on TV. That ending does not work, and I'm talking exactly. You can do that same thing, but instead of having this meeting the way they have it set up, something crazy, intense, and edge of your seat shit needs to happen in that last episode before we get to that. You need to give them the big ba-boom, and then you give them that moment I want to stay kind of spoiler free here, but whatever you do with Negan in that moment, you know, it needs to be, it needs to follow something major. You know what I'm saying? In a certain way where it doesn't feel underwhelming. And this is why I think it might be good if they do it in the middle of a season, because if fans want Negan to die and they want Negan to live, at the end of All Out War, they could have it happen, and then there's only a short break, and they could come back. You know, fans aren't all pissed off. They aren't, oh, AMC doesn't have balls to kill Negan, yada, 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 da, 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 whatever. They could come back from a small break, and now you have the opportunity to show them a fresh, new Alexandria, rebuilt, years down the line, like 3 years, 4 years, you skipped it. New environment, characters are dressed new. You do everything. Everything's new, from the logo to the intro. Change that up. I mean, refresh everything. Make this the whole refresher for the entire series. But you do that mid-season, and then you have the opportunity to tackle some of the frustrations with not finalizing Negan's story in All Out War. Last question, Jake Martin. He said, I've been thinking about this for such a long time. Right before Rick and his group were trapped outside the woods at the end of Season 6, Carl says, I'm never going to let anyone die like that again. Then Rick says, son. And then you hear the whistling, and you're asking, what was Rick gonna tell Carl? I love this. This, I think, could possibly be some of the best dialogue that was never written. And I don't know if this is on purpose, but I'm hoping it was, because it's genius. Think about it. Rick knows they're facing a problem right now. They are in trouble. Carl tells Rick, I'm not going to let anyone die like that. Rick knows that's impossible. You can't avoid that. And he knows that that's a burden. You know, if Carl has that mentality, you need to tell him, like, listen, son, we are going to lose people. We will lose them soon. And you have to know that sometimes there's nothing you can do about that, you know? So he might have been right about to give him a speech about how they are going to lose people right before they're actually going to lose people. I think it is, if they did that intentionally, I think it's incredible, and I love it. I love it. I'm going to shut up. Go ahead and look at the rules if you want to participate. Follow those rules. It helps out in a big way. And remember, we are now 9,999 subscribers on the road to 100K. Very exciting stuff. Thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.